Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the time of this wonderful day. Yes, thank you. The story of a woman that came across on the Atlantic trade during the time of slavery, the hard time, pain, suffering, but coming to a place to be put on an auction block, sometime naked, sometime poorly clad, but to be used, abused, raped, yes, for others. She suffered the shame, she suffered the pain of a new place, a new horizon, a new life, never to return to her home again. Now she's suffering in a new way, a way that she never suffered before. To be taken advantage of anytime someone wanted her, anytime someone desired her, or either just to be there to say that they use her like an animal to breed her for to bring forth stock, to bring forth money, to bring forth another person that if they don't catch the slave trade, they raise their own slaves now. So she suffered that situations. She suffered that abuse, the rape, all of this stuff. But something happened in the course of her life. Yes, the wisdom in her body was used in a way that she never thought, that we could never thought that was possible. To be someone's pleasure, to be someone's um, item, to be someone's, to be used, to be of, yes, to be raped, abused. But as she endured these pains, as she endured this, the favor came to her through wisdom in her body. And now she became a cook, the nurse, housekeeper, maid, yes, nanny, and comforter to the master and those who worked for him. In fact, sometimes the wife was jealous of her because she could go to places that even the wife couldn't go. She could go into the boardroom, the sitting room, the smoking room, where all the guys were talking business. She was a server, and she heard things. She learned how to read, and she taught others to read, her brothers and sisters. And through this favor that she gained from the people, she was able to help free some of her fellow men. Like I say, she was there to teach them. She was there as a nurse, midwife, in other places, the cook. She convinced the master to give them food that the master didn't want. We could cook it, we could use it. We'll know how, we'll learn. And they trusted her in many places. And coming along, she had the ears of the judge, the ears of people in high places because of the situation that she was into. They used her mightily. They used her not in a mighty way, but they used her for their comfort, for their pleasure. So she was allowed in the business. She was allowed to know different things. And through humility, through her quietness, through her love and suffering, and her well-being, and her wisdom, she didn't rebel as much because she knew that one day her suffering would not be in vain. So she continued to suffer, not raising a lot of noise, complaints, but she was suffering in her heart, in her body, in her mind. And as she moved along, she was the first to get into the office. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They gave her not a position, but a job in the office. Yeah, but she paid the price for that office job of filing, that is. And then into the stock room, into different places there of low interest, low level interest. She was also there to help her family during the time of her husband's absence. She went through the winters, went through the hard times. But the husband was absent. He had to go to the mine, had to go to the lumber yard. He had to go to the construction job. She was there. She fed the family. She clothed the family. She educated the family. And the little money that she did receive, she knew how to use it wisely. And then on and on, on and on. Her conversation was so vast. Her conversation was so good that she could speak things to different people. She had the politicians there so that her children learned how to be verbalizing the politics and all that stuff. Yes, she was a forerunner. She was there. And then, like I say, they kept using her and abusing her. But she took all of this. She took all of this in spirit and in a grain of sand. She took all of this in heart so that one day, things would change. Because that was her song, that was her life, that was her prayer to the spirit that she was praying to. Help me, help me, help me to see the light. Help me to go above and beyond what we're going through now. And sure enough, it happened. Because before they had affirmative action, yes, while she was cleaning the house, while she was cooking the food, while she was making the bed, she was being used. She was hurt, and she continued to hurt. But then favor was given to her even more. Favor for her children, favor for other people that she spoke up for. She prevented many from going to jail, many from going into bad places. She prevented many from being taken advantage of, that were beaten, that were lynched, that were hurt. So as time moved on, there was so-called freedom. And she still had to be used. She still was used. She still was abused, sometimes voluntarily. Sometimes she knew that if she did these things for these people, for the situation, that favor would be returned to her. Then she had to go through some rapes. She had to go through being forced. Well, if you don't want to do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. But she did it. And yet and still, many received the benefit of what she had to go through, her suffering, her trials and tribulation. Many received the benefit of what she found laid down, her value. Yes. So we just want to bring this to you, that during the course of Black history, no one talks about this woman. No one uh, wants to give her the honor or the accolades. No one even wants to give her gratitude for what she had to go through in order for us to have the value. We keep sweeping these things under the rug. We keep putting it in the closet, buried it in the backyard. But don't bury her. Let her live. Remember her. Yes, yes. But today, there are too many that are hurting also, just like she was hurting. When you can look around and see that over 100,000 women are being abducted in 1 year, 100,000 beautiful women and girls don't go home at night. Why? So many of them were just picked up off the street, picked up from different places. So many of them wound up in sex trafficking. So many of them wound up in abusive relationships. So many of them never thought about the one that had to do these things in their behalf, even to give them a better life. But yet and still, they don't think about her. They don't even want to remember her. But I'm here to say, remember her. Let her live in your life. Let her be, okay, forgiven. Let her be loved and cherished, just like everyone else. With some of those inventions and patents and things that were made through the suffering of different ones, she was behind it because sometimes she volunteered, sometimes she was like, okay, I understand, because she couldn't say no, or if she did say no, she would be beaten or misused for real. So she humbled herself. And her children went on to learn more. And then they taught others to learn more. And that's why a lot of the patents, a lot of the invention came through the suffering of this poor woman, the sacrifice that she made for our benefits. So I just want to bring this to you to let you know, don't sweep her under the rug. Let her live. And let her live to be talked about. Not talked about, but talked about like the campfire to let people know that yes, not only we invented different things that's for the benefit of all, but the trial, the road we had to go through, the suffering that we had to endure, and then knowing that a woman had to suffer these atrocities just to bring us to that place of success and value. So with that one, people, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for this month of Black History. We don't see things happening like in the past, like we did before, have services and all that good stuff. But nobody wants to care about what happened and how we got to it. How did we get to this place? How are we going to hold on to the value of where we are and what we're doing? What is in store for us for the future? Because of her and through her, a new race, a generation, new characteristics were produced through those that came from the other place. Now it's almost like a new race of people through her loins, through her womb, that is. So I just want to let you know that we're here to help her, to remember her, yes. And then, like I say, not to put her in a place of shame, place of guilt, and a place that we are to hold her responsible No, no. But lift her up and let her be a part of our celebration. That woman, the woman that sacrificed her body for our benefits. And with this in mind, this is Michael Jones. Excel in love at peopleinlove.com. Defeating porn, lust, addiction, betrayal, stress, and all of those things that come about that will hold us down, including depression. So lift up your head, my wonderful people. Yes, don't be ashamed of who you are. Don't be ashamed that we have to go through some stuff sometime. Sometimes we have to go through the mud hole or the swamp land to get to freedom. Through many tribulations, we shall enter into the kingdom of God. Tribulation is not a walk in the park. It's not a walk through the tulips, but an enduring situation. He who endures to the end shall be saved. Think about it. And don't be like those people that when they got the announcement, they said they shut down. They don't want to be bothered because they don't understand the sacrifice of their fellow man or their fellow woman. They don't understand that everything wasn't gold and glitter and silver and polish. Some things were thorns and thistles and rocks and briars and bushes. Well, thanks again and again. And I'll see you next week at our regular time. But share this out. Let people know and let people understand. Call a friend, call a neighbor. And then, by all means, subscribe to this channel. Let people know that they can come here and they can get value, whether they believe it or not. We try to speak the peace, we try to speak the truth, we try to speak life, 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 and the great life, and the power of life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace and grace. Bye now.